you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. Really appreciate your guys' patience for today's show. We're still kind of getting there with the internet thing. It's not quite right where we wanted it to be at, but it looks like it might not fail us tonight. Assuming that it doesn't, make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Make sure that you guys join the membership. I strongly encourage you guys to click the link if you want to be up on the show. Approve the mic, approve the camera. And if you do, you will be able to be brought up onto the screen in real time. I just got to confirm that you're over the age of 18 because we got to have adults on here, young adults on here at the very least. Still under the expectation of the identification of adult. Now, for the rest of you guys that are on TikTok, because we got TikTok off on the side over here. We got to get you guys the ability to get in here until we get that stream key. We're quite a ways away from a stream key because from what I understand, we need somewhere between 1,000 and 10,000 people to get a stream key. And it for some reason isn't even letting me open it up for the opportunity to do open guest. Oh well, kick rocks. So allegedly TikTok's supposed to be going off the air in January, so I don't even really know. We're gonna find out. If they don't, then I'll put some extra effort into trying to get our equipment merged together. But actually, as it stands right now, I think I might actually get the because I was supposed to be getting Twitter interlinked into here, so I was going to see if I could get Twitter interlinked into here. Yeah, so today we're supposed to be talking about the importance of transparency in relationships, and actually, it's a funny thing that today's show is about that, and I had this very nifty interaction on social media. That we talk about these dating websites and social media interactions, and me and Mr. Pibbs, when he was guest starring on the show, we were having discussions as to how to communicate with individuals. Now, you understand that when you're talking to people online, you risk the ability to get scammed or manipulated. So you understand that there's always this first and foremost red flag that you don't even know if you're really talking to the picture that you're looking at. So I had this conversation with this individual, and they were trying to impress me with their wealth, and that wasn't very impressive because, I mean, as a female, like how much money you make and how much money you have, it doesn't make a difference if you're not wire transferring money to me. You know what I'm saying? If you send me some money Western Union, then maybe we can talk. If you cash at me some money or PayPal me some money or something like that, that actually might be of relevance to some degree. But men don't actually expect women to give men money. So a woman cannot tell me that she has a really good job, she makes a lot of money, and she's very valuable as a woman because of how much money she has. And a man is looking for a woman that is going to be a good wife, potentially a good mother to the children. What is her availability to the husband, and what is her availability to the household? The lady was talking to me. She was like, "Oh, I'm very busy. I'm very busy. I've got this going on. I've got that's going on. I'm flying to this place, that place, the other place. But I want a man that will spoil me." Ma'am, if you're making $250,000 in a third world country, you can spoil yourself. I don't need to spoil you. And that's where we look at. That's like, bing, first red flag. What I told you guys, anytime a woman wants a man to spoil her or be generous, that is the first red flag of a gold digger. So we're getting to our topic today about the importance of transparency in relationships and whether or not the transparency is a good or bad thing in a relationship. So moving on, we have the situation where the second thing is that not only does she want me to spoil her and generosity and stuff like that, the second red flag that comes up is she's asking me about like future plans, if I'm the kind of person that's interested in a big and lavish wedding. Now, granted, I have no problem with participating in a big and lavish wedding, but I just did 3 shows in the past 60 days that said, why waste hundreds of thousands of dollars on wedding rings and wedding days and wedding receptions when you're basically where the man is required to spend thousands of dollars on a piece of jewelry, then spend thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars on a venue, Pay all these people to show up, bribe all of the people that you know to show up because of the catering, because of the open bar, all of this stuff. Then you got to reserve this other location after you go through the ceremony so that you can entertain the people that came. So it's not even about the person. It's not even about the person. It actually ends up being about the money that was spent on the event that got the people showing up, because the people aren't showing up because they participated in the two people coming together. The people that are showing up to the wedding are not participating in keeping the marriage strong, or making sure that the marriage ends up being a 20, 50, 70-year long marriage. These people that come to the wedding for the free drinks and the free food and the ability to clap and look at your nice outfit, look at my nice outfit, the bachelorette party, stuff like that, the bachelor party. They're not coming, and then they're being entertained by you, the host. They're not paying for your wedding. They're not saying, you guys are an awesome couple, let's all put up $5,000 a person and get these people hitched. They're not saying, oh, we're going to pay for the filing fee, we're going to pay for your honeymoon. Nobody's wedding in 2024 has ever had the community that they came together in pay for their wedding, where the married couple does not have to pay for their own marriage. And tradition has fallen in America where the ancestors, the mother and the father, when you ask for permission for marriage, you go to the parents of the woman and ask, and then you go to the parents of the man and get the blessing of, and the somebody's parents pay for it. Usually the with the dowry, the daughter of the bride pays for the wedding. But when you start talking about the difference in traditional expectations, the father of the groom or mother of the groom would pay for the wedding, but the bride and groom usually don't pay. When the dowry is going to the wife's family, the mother of the groom pays for the wedding, but out of appreciation of taking this financial burden off of my hands, the father of the bride pays for the wedding. But neither one has the wedding paid for by the groom and the bride. These days, we're not seeing any of that. So while we're not seeing any of that, the conflict that we're looking at, and it's a wheel spinning conflict. Why are we spending so much money on oh, look at that. I see you. Omni81. I see you. How you doing, buddy? And then Red Void. I also see you in there as well. So I appreciate you guys dropping in. But like I was about to say, yeah, we're not looking at the ideology of let's spend all these hundreds of thousands of dollars on this wedding, and then we're gonna do this because we love each other. I asked the girl, I said, well, would you prefer a lavish wedding, a $300,000 wedding where there's an expensive wedding ring involved and the expensive uh wedding ceremony where you would be important for maybe 1 or 2 days? I was legit. I didn't even beat around a bush with the chick. I told her straight up. I said, well, if you got into this engagement, you probably would be important for 1 or 2 days off of a $300,000 wedding. And the reason why I said 1 or 2 days is because you have the rehearsal day and then the actual day. And the rehearsal day, everybody's kissing you behind. And the actual day, everybody's praising the fact that you didn't mess this up. The event, not the wedding, because your wedding is still going to get messed up if you don't do the right thing. The day after the wedding, if there's a third day that you're appreciated, the day after the wedding, when everybody's congratulating you on the fact that they didn't make it to your event yesterday, that's it. That's it. After that, no one person that congratulated you on your wedding today is going to congratulate you on your wedding every day for the next 30 years. The people who congratulated you the day before your wedding, the people that are congratulating you up to your wedding. So the promotion that I'm going to get married soon is going to give you all this praise. You're like the most important person at the rehearsal. You're like the most important person at the event. You're at the reception after the fact. You're the most important people at the reception, and that's pretty much it. And usually the reception is in the same day of the wedding. So the day before the wedding when you guys practice, and the day of the wedding when you guys actually get it done, that's like it, because you guys are the center of attention. And then after that, some people can afford to go on a honeymoon if they've got good friends who can pay for their honeymoon trip, or not good friends, just people who can spend a lot of money on them. Or if you're in a situation where you set the honeymoon up yourself, you go away for the honeymoon. When you come back from that honeymoon, you ain't worth nothing, nobody else. Ain't nobody trying to talk to you. So I asked the female, I said, well, check it out. I said, would you prefer to be important for 2 days off a $300,000 event, wedding ring and all? Or would you prefer to take that $300,000 and put it into stocks, bonds, real estate, and potentially Bitcoin, and generate a ideally 10% or 20% revenue on an annual basis, where you would be bringing back roughly $60,000 a year of income, which would actually be your whole $60,000 a year, which would ideally give you $5,000 a month to spend as a monthly allowance for the rest of your life. Which one would you prefer? She likes both ideas. Go digger. I ain't even trying to talk to you no more. I was like, that just you shot yourself down when you did that. And I was thinking about the fact, because really, you buy a ring, it doesn't matter how much it costs. It's usually worth half or 20 to 30% of what you paid for it after that. You're not, unless the jeweler that you bought it from still exists, you can't really bring it back to the store and get top dollar for it. You're not going to get full credit for it. You're only going to get a percentage of what you paid for it, which is depreciation of value. We did the show yesterday about the appreciation of value. When you're dealing with the depreciation of value, you don't want to buy something that's going to lose money over time. You want to buy something that's going to make money for you over time. Even if the value of the item, like a vehicle, is going to lose value over time, but you're going to gain value over time because of it, because now you have transportation to get you more places, so that you don't have to lose out on making big money deals. That you want to have that transportation there. The ideologies behind this is, if you've got if you're wasting money on the ring, and then the only place you're probably going to bring the ring besides a jewelry store, pawn shop's only going to give you half of what they can sell it for. If the ring is only worth 30% of what you paid for it, pawn shop's only going to give you 15%, because they're out of the 30%, they might be able to get 10% on top of what they gave you. So if they offer you 15% of the value of the ring, that's because they could probably make 25% off the ring. That extra 10%, that's their profit. So if you sell the ring, you're not going to get, if it was a $30,000 ring, you might get $10,000 off of it. You might get $5,000 off of it. And that's because they'll sell it for $10,000. You understand? But that's it. And the woman gets the money because she's going to sell her ring. The husband lost the money. He's not going to get the ring back. Very rarely does the woman give the wedding ring back on the divorce. They throw the wedding ring in a ditch when they don't want to talk to you. Got the man searching for the ring in the woods and stuff. They'll throw $30,000 in the trash just to hurt your feelings. So when we're talking about this, we're like, really think about what you're doing here when you're wasting money on this, because she ain't gonna throw away no $300,000 stock option. Ain't no female gonna throw away no $30,000 stock option. If there's money in the bank, ain't no female gonna throw away no $30,000, $500,000 stock option, something or other. Nobody's gonna do that. Nobody goes, oh no, you can keep that. Let me find a female that say, oh no, that's all right, you can keep it. Never happening. We see right now on social media, they'll chase you down for the $100 cash dollar that you got in your hand right now. You got to hold it above their head. They'll be jumping trying to take it, because they need that $100 to waste, not to invest, to waste. So this is the issue that we have when it comes down to getting into the relationship. Before we even get into the relationship, we have a conversation about loyalty, dedication, devotion, submission, obedience. This is the first 2 or 3 sentences, first 2 or 3 questions that come up. When we have this, now you understand the non-negotiable expectations for behavior. If you are going to be submissive and obedient and respectful, then you're not going to challenge. You're not going to put an individual up in a position where he has to prove himself. Because if you're doing trust and loyalty, if you're trusting and you're loyal, then that unconditional trust and loyalty puts faith that you will not be let down. Now, if I got to prove to you that you can trust me, then I can't trust you to trust me. And that's where transparency comes in. So we were talking today about whether or not transparency would be a good thing. Transparency is a good thing to a magnitude. And that's why I gave you that story. Transparency is a good thing to a magnitude. When you start off your relationship and you're engaging with an individual and you're telling them up front what you expect, as soon as you lay it down, look, these fundamental core concepts you're going to have to incorporate into your behavior. So if it's not there, you got to find it. If you don't find it, I'm not going to talk to you. And that makes you direct, that makes you assertive, and that allows you as the man to lead the direction that you are going to participate in future engagements. If she understands that she must follow your lead, if she's going to take charge and you didn't ask her to take charge, she's not following your lead. She's not following your lead. Non-negotiable expectation. She's out the door. It's like, all right, well, if you're leading, I'm going this way. So if you're not going the same direction I'm going, I'll see you later. And truthfully, I'm not going to see you later because, you know, there's no we don't re-roll on the same frame. Remember I told y'all that? And when bowling and you knock down in pins, you get a strike, you don't re-roll the last frame. You move on to the next frame. So I mean, if it don't work out, if you failed in the last frame, you're not redoing the last frame. You're moving on to the next frame. You're going to hopefully do better on the next frame. That's how life is. So if you're not willing to cooperate and compromise and follow the lead of the leader, then you don't need to be on this team. Now, when it comes down to transparency in relationships, which is very important, transparency means communication. Transparency means letting your partner know in advance what is about to go down so that your partner has the ability to aid you in your success with that particular scenario. Now, unilaterally, it does mean that both ways that a reasonable quantity of information needs to be passed back and forth between two people. But we're also under the understanding that we're not looking at a man asking a woman for permission to fix a problem. We're also not expecting a woman to be on call for every single whatever's going on. We're looking at the fact that if you're about to go somewhere, either the man or the woman is supposed to tell their partner, hey, I got to go do this. I got to go do that. These are my plans for the week, da, 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 da. And you lay these things out. And when you're laying these things out, your partner is able to plan around that. Well, he's got to go here. She's got to go there. They might take X car, this, that, and the third. If you got two cars and one's in better condition than the other, you know, you might take a long distance journey. The wife might say, well, take the better car so that you don't get stranded. The husband might say, I'm going to take the better model car, even if it needs more repair, because I want to leave an impression for the client. So the wife knows that if the car breaks down, she might have to go and give him a hand with that. These things come from communication. If and when the vehicles need to be serviced, you know, if in the event that money's not coming the way it's supposed to come, you know, all of these things wrap themselves up and roll themselves out where you guys have to make adjustments because you already know what's about to happen. Now, these relationships are with transparency also have some levels of negotiation. It's not a dictatorship where the man rules everything. But the fact is that when you're selecting a man the way you select a lawyer, the way politicians select CIA agents to protect them, when a woman selects a man, the man is being selected to be the leader, the one that guides us in the right direction, the one who sacrifices his self for the cause, the one who dies early for the longevity of the woman. And as a result, level of mutual respect is that if he's sacrificing himself for you at any point, even if he is in the preparation phase to leave you with, upon his demise, everything he has built, your obligation as a woman is to do two things: help him build as much as possible so you got so much more left there when he's gone, and make sure that his sacrifice doesn't go in vain, that the fullest existence of his life is the happiest existence that he can have. Because as even convicts get their final request before execution, husbands should get their request before their sacrifice for their wives. Now, I know that people are not going to say, well, yeah, that makes perfect sense, but it really does. It really does. Now, why am I talking about this? I know that we had talked about before about the women going through the men's phones and, oh, let me see this and show me your text messages and prove this and prove that and prove the other. We then most recently we were talking about how a Supreme Court, I do believe it was a Supreme Court, if not a federal court, a state court, I think it was a divorce court, where a wife was trying to divorce a husband, and then the judge put the wife and the wife's lawyer in criminal court because the wife obtained the evidence from the husband's phone, which is a violation of the wiretap law, where the husband did not give the wife permission to take the content out of the phone that may or may not have proven that he was cheating, and she was trying to use that as verification to divorce. You could divorce for absolutely no viable reason. You could divorce because it's Tuesday. There is the laws have changed in the United States across all 50 states. There is a no reasonable cause for divorce clause right now. Now, you might be trying to get financial compensation from your divorce. If you're trying to get financial compensation from your divorce, then what you're trying to say is, well, not only am I also supposed to get stacks of cash. Now, if you're trying to say that, now you got a whole nother thing coming in, and you want stacks of cash, you want alimony, you want child support. So you're trying to prove that not only should the marriage be disbarred, also the guy should fork over the rest of his life and half of his past as well. And that is the punitive damage levels when women are trying to show that they should get a divorce because of the inappropriate behavior of the man, where the man failed a relationship. Men don't fail relationships anymore, y'all. And that's why I was telling L Beast yesterday's show that I got it coming up, because I scheduled it for some of the early parts of November, where we were going to be talking about divorce rates, where the possibility of a man actually benefiting from a divorce. Men don't benefit from the divorce, but someone had the audacity to say that at least one man has made millions off of a divorce. No, I know that in modern times, with the women becoming more successful and alpha boss ladies in divorces, where the man is making far less than the woman, like 30% less than a woman or something to that effect, that the child support is afforded to the father, because the father was originally placed on child support, even though the woman was financially more successful than than the father. But a man divorcing a woman and the man getting half of the woman's estate and then getting alimony without children being involved, never seen it happen. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened. I've never seen it happen. So I'm supposed to collaborate and put all the statistics together and show that, hey, far as I know, this doesn't happen. But men are starting to get child support. Back in the day, the child support was only the man's responsibility. So if the man had custody of the child, he didn't get child support. He just didn't pay child support. Sometimes he paid child support and still had possession of the child. But the fact is that in the past, in the distant past, when men had possession of their children, they didn't get alimony and child support from their wives, and that was usually because the man was more financially successful than the woman. But since we have the alpha boss ladies in modern times, women are now able to be, and more frequently seen, more financially successful than the men. So that also means that since women are not willing to build men up, they want to get a finished product. Women are now starting to have problems with finding a man on her financial level. The more successful a woman becomes, the smaller her dating pool becomes, because the further up the ladder she gets to becoming the top 23% or the top 10%, the less men that meet her expectations, because the only 23% of men make more than 100,000 a year. Less than that make over 250,000 a year, and the remainder of men are making you're looking at 73% of men about 73% of men that are making far less than $100,000 a year, where working class wages right now around about $1,650 a week, which is something close to a $70,000 a year income. That's poor in the United States. because of inflation. Working class is poor class. Working class is the upper lower class, lower middle class, the working class. So the bus drivers and the fast food chain workers and the people who have low prestige jobs, hypothetically, those working class, that's the poor class. That's 70 grand, 75 grand. The two-party income in the United States as of February 14th, I told y'all before, is making between 72 and 75,000, where two people together, where one person's got 40 and the other person's got 35, or one person got 42 and the other person got 36, and they're coming together and they have less than 80,000 between the two of them. But women are looking for men that make $100,000 by himself, who has absolutely nothing to do with her money, and then the standard of living is supposed to be inside of his $100,000. No one ever says what she's doing with her money. We have a few women that suggest we should do half, and it's not saying we should do half like I shouldn't burden the man to pay more. It's I shouldn't pay more than half. He should be paying for all of it, but if I'm gonna pay for some, I'm not paying more than half. I'm not gonna take care of the man. I'm not his mama, and that's not the mentality to have, because if a man can say quit your job, go to college, get your degree, go get you a 7-figure, 8-figure job, the woman should be able to tell the husband, quit your job now, go get 2 degrees, go get you, because women can get a job better than the man can, because all you got to really do is walk in there and be a female, and the company needs to meet the status quo, and all of a sudden you're in a middle management position. Man's got to show his worth. He's got to get in there and be like 5, 10, 20 years of experience, 2, 3, 4 degrees. He's got to really show his worth, because the what is it, like 20-30% of most of the dangerous jobs is females or less. All of the regular ones are not so much so. So when you're looking at this, it's like the women are not actually choosing the higher paying jobs, but the ones that do choose the higher paying jobs, they end up in those higher paying jobs. They end up all the way up the corporate ladder and very successful. We got a few millionaire women out there, and I got to go for broke for the millionaire women. But the problem with the millionaire women is that the millionaire women are dating millionaire men. You don't see millionaire women dating $50,000 a year men, $20,000, $30,000 a year men. Now, I know some women are going to be like, oh, yeah, you're just a broke man barking. Nah, I'm just talking statistics. I don't really give a shit. The thing is that when you're dealing with transparency in a relationship, you want to know how much he makes so that you can know how much money you can spend. You want to know what obligations he has so that you can know how much money's coming out of the money that you can spend. You want to know where he's at and what he's doing so that you can see where he's spending his money. You're not paying attention to the man because if the man is in trouble, that you can come and check on him. You're not you can come and get him. You know, women do not feel like they should report to their boyfriends and their husbands the way they expect the boyfriend and the husband to report to her, because they do not want to be tracked. They want to have the freedom from being tracked, and that's unethical. That you expect the man to be able to protect you when you're not willing to disclose your whereabouts, but you expect him to disclose his whereabouts so that you know that he's being loyal. In relationships, transparency could be a detrimental thing. So when we're dealing with the transparency becoming so detrimental, we're dealing with the fact that we have a harder understanding that there are some women that are able to utilize the information that they're given, and they can become more successful and more frequently accessible for assistance. They become more valuable. But we have a lot more than what we would prefer, more situations where the men are being inherently dominated. And then hey guys, it's a felony if she goes through, even if you give her the password so that she can send a specific text message to a specific individual. If she goes into your phone and she scrolls through your phone and she's finding evidence so that she can prove herself right about some nonsense, then that is a violation of the federal wiretapping law, and you could prosecute her for that. If she's taking screenshots of what's going on your phone and she's over here trying to get evidence from what you got going on, she is stealing all of your information. That is a violation of law. So because that is a violation of law, you have essentially terminated your relationship, because if you ever have to take legal action against a girlfriend or a wife, that engagement is dead. So when we're dealing with transparency in a relationship, reasonable communication is the key. Being able to have a female that can talk to you and tell you what's going on without you having to beg her for information helps you be able to be a better man so that you can aid her in the things that she wants to accomplish, which makes this a both way situation. So if she's telling you what's going on with her in her life, then you should be able to vent off of what's going on in your life and tell her within reason, because some of us have jobs that are specifically need to know basis where you're technically not supposed to talk to your partner, even though we do. But that's why they have laws that says that a wife and a husband cannot testify against each other, because that is supposed to be your confidant. The same way when you go to the church and you confess your sins to the preacher, whatever you told that preacher is in confidence, and he cannot disclose even a crime, a past crime, to the police. He can disclose future potentials of danger, but he's not obligated to expose. If somebody was to come and say, hey, I did X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C back when, preachers aren't supposed to go and talk about that with the police. Now, thinking about that, your girlfriend is kind of supposed to be the same way. Now, I know that we don't really have a lot of relationships in modern times where there's loyalty amongst the couples. We have such a very open relationship culture right now where we have people with side chicks and side dudes and boyfriend number twos and, three baby daddies, the current guy taking care of the other three men's children, and he can't even have kids because her tubes are tied and cut and stuff. And we have men that have three baby mamas, and he's only taking care of the kids that are living in the house with them instead of, them all, doing what they're supposed to do with one another. So we have a very loose culture right now on both sides of the fence. It's not just the women that are not socially dedicated. The men in some situations are also not socially dedicated to one another. But what we've also noticed is that the ideology of transparency has become one-sided. Dating apps, not even dating apps, family tracker apps that were created for the safety of the family. You know where everybody's at because everybody's attached to their phone. So you know that everybody's safe. If somebody needs an emergency, they're able to hit an SOS button on their cell phone, which notifies everybody else in the family that they're in trouble, which allows those family members to get to you as quickly, if not faster than law enforcement, when you know that, reasonably speaking, in most areas, the response of law enforcement is like 45 minutes. Most of us want response to law enforcement to be faster, but a lot of us who have experienced law enforcement would prefer law enforcement not come at all. We only have to go through the steps of calling law enforcement and notifying law enforcement on the dispatch call of the sequence of events that led up to us taking the actions that we took, so that, like George Zimmerman, we can walk away without a conviction for the decisions that we made. But beyond the fact that we notified law enforcement of the actions that we were performing as we were, or before we were performing those actions, if we end up in those situations, we don't really want to be like, oh, help, and then they come and you end up like the lady that got gunned down in her kitchen because the police told her to go and turn off the stove, and then gunned her down in the kitchen after she turned off the stove. Like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. So when you're in situations where you need somebody to come aid you, you feel safer and you feel more comfortable with calling on one of your best friends, your emergency contact. Here's another thing, y'all, because you want to call on your emergency contact when you're having an emergency. And back in the day, the emergency contact used to be the first person that somebody would call when you no longer have consciousness. So if you are hurt, if you are sick, and you passed out, that's the person that's supposed to come to your aid. If you go to jail, that's the person that's supposed to come and bail you out, your emergency contact. If you're stranded, that's the person that is supposed to come and get you. Transparency, not your friend in this situation. Giving your emergency contact to the hospital so that they can call the emergency contact for payment. That's what they're using the emergency contact for now. It is not to call and say your family member is in the hospital. The emergency contact is to go and say, hey, they haven't paid their medical bills. Would you have the ability to contact them and tell them that they haven't made them? And if you don't, can you pay the bill? That's what the emergency contacts are being used for now. Because if you are at a regular primary physician or a specialist office, there is nothing that can happen to you on a checkup that would require them to contact somebody to do something different than what they were already doing. Because outside of your power of attorney, the person that you elect to have control over your estate, when you are no longer conscious, usually your emergency contact will be the person that says, do the surgery, put them on life support, save their life. He wants to live and I want him to live too. That's where your emergency contacts are supposed to be for. And typically closest friends and family are emergency contact. But nowadays, they want you to list emergency contact so that they can call your emergency contact. Some are even reckless about it. They'll call your emergency contact to remind you about a doctor's appointment because you didn't answer the phone. Your emergency contact is not supposed to be contacted for anything other than a life-threatening emergency. If they're calling you for payment, they are misusing the information. If they're calling you for updates on appointments, talking about some secondary contact, no, that wasn't what that was for. That was not for secondary contact. That was for if I for any reason am in your presence externally bleeding, loss of breath, organs failing, life support systems, you are supposed to call it. That's what that number used to be for. Now they use it as a second phone number. So when they ask me, "Oh, do you have an emergency contact?" Nope. And if they tell me that I mandatorily have to put down an emergency contact, I just put my own phone number there. So when they call, you're calling me. Because if I wanted you to call somebody else and tell them what was going on with me, then financially, then I would have that person covering the bill. But if there's something that actually physically happened to me, then I should, with my last breath and my moment of consciousness, be able to call whoever I can call as I black out and they pick up the phone and hello, hello, hello. If I am responding on the other end, because I know that we got some folks these days that do butt dials because everybody's putting their cell phone in their back pocket, so they do butt dials. They also have cracked screens because they forget their phone is in their back pocket and they sit on their phones, so that which also leaves them very exposed because you can put your phone in your back pocket in America and walk around because you're wearing ladies can do this, men can't, because ladies walk around, you got the tight shorts on and you can barely fit your hand in there, but you stick your phone back there, and because nobody's supposed to touch your butt, you don't have to worry about somebody stealing your phone because it's in your back pocket. Go to a third world country with that shit, your phone gonna come up missing, your insurance plan gonna come up missing, your carrier is gonna come up missing, everything. You ain't gonna be able to find nothing putting stuff in your back pocket, thinking that oh, it's good back there. No, it ain't. Put stuff in your front pockets. And fellas, we learned from I did shows last year where I was telling y'all we shouldn't even be putting stuff in our back pocket no more. You notice they're starting to make clothes for men that don't even have back pockets, front pockets, and then they got the satchel now, the man purse, where they're doing it across the front of the chest, where men are walking around with their own purse now. Everybody's got a little duffel bag or whatever, and they got their little Glock switch in their duffel bag, but they're not doing pockets anymore. Pockets are like an accessory, a visual accessory. It's not even a utilizable tool anymore. But the thing about it is that nobody can take anything out your back pocket if you don't put anything in your back pocket. Nobody can take anything out of your front pocket if your front pocket isn't baggy and open enough for them to stick their hands in it. When I put something in my pocket, I put something in my pocket under my pistol. So you got to move my pistol to get into my pocket. So if you got to move my pistol to get into my pocket, you might as well take my pistol, because if you don't take my pistol gonna take you. That's how that works. So and my pocket is safe because whatever's in my pocket is under my pistol. But when I got to talk to the police, I ain't taking nothing out of my pockets. Why? Because I got to go through my pistol. And if I go through my pistol, they're going to go through me with their pistol. So I'm not going to go through my pockets. We should never have the conversation when they say, keep your hands out of your pockets. Keep your hands out of your pockets. What are you talking to me like that for? What do you mean? Keep my hands out of my pockets. I'm not reaching for my pockets. And if it's cold outside, I ain't even sitting over here trying to reach for my pockets, talking about I'm gonna stick my hands in my pockets. Let me tell y'all something real quick while we segue off of this transparency conversation. Let me tell you, young bloods, real quick. Y'all need some riot gloves. It's cold outside. You nervous. You want to put your hands in your pockets. You don't need to put your hands in your pockets. What you need to do is you need to go ahead and take your gloves out of your pockets so that you got your gloves in your hand. And you ain't even got to reach it. You can just come out there and just kind of pull them out where they know that they're gloves. You got your gloves. You know, you got one in one hand. You're going to go ahead. You're going to put your hand in there. You're going to come over here. You're going to put your hand in there. And now you're ready to go. And you got your brass knucks inside of your riot gloves. You ready to rock. This is one of them situations where it's starting to look like it's about to go hands on. You putting your riot gloves on. Your excuse is it's cold outside. They can't tell you nothing. At the end of the day, it's about to go down. When people understand that you ready for action, everybody start getting their attitude in check. Believe it or not. Some people gonna say, no, that's gonna make them worse. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. Because if you're putting riot gloves on, you know somebody's job about to get broke. So back to our transparency topic. We were talking about being transparent. You're supposed to have a partner that you can trust. You're supposed to have a partner that you can relay information to. Transparency becomes a problem. One of the transparency problems is that when you tell your partner how much money you got going on, where your bank accounts are, how much assets that you have, when you get into the divorce, they know where all your money's at. I have recommended plenty of times before. You don't tell them how much you make. You don't tell them how much you have. You don't tell them how much you have access to. What you do is you have one joint bank account for the relationship. That's it. And in that joint bank account, any bills that are going to be paid directly by you go into that joint bank account. Nothing else goes in or comes out of that joint bank account. Any other financial assets that you have are not discussed. You guys should have, and I've told you guys before, if she is a valuable woman, she's not after you for just your money. Granted, all women want the man's resources and all men want the bodies of the women, and they're looking for women that are going to do more than just give their bodies. But the fact is, as a man, you don't want them to only be chasing you for your resources. So you're looking for one that actually wants you for who you are, so that even if you MC Hammer and lose all your riches, that the woman's still going to be there with you. You got the dating prenup contracts. She is not entitled to X, Y, and Z assets. She is not entitled to X, Y, and Z effort. When you go from that dating contract to a marriage contract, she's already used to this, that when you update this, she is not entitled to X, Y, and Z assets. She's not entitled to X, Y, and Z whatever. If you're going to build a trust for your wife, even after the divorce, she will only get what this trust is appointed to for her. Then whatever you decide to say, well, X, Y, and Z is going to go into this trust and keep going into this trust until such time as she is no longer married to me. At that time, the trust will be dissolved. And whatever capital in the trust will go to the wife. I keep everything else. Now, nobody even thinks about that kind of stuff. When a woman wants to divorce a man, she wants to, oh, I'm a leave you, blah, 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 blah. Well, we got the contract. The contract says that I'm going to put like $600 a month into a bank account. That money is going to go into a trust. It's going to build interest. That interest is going to pay you out over time. If you divorce me in less than a year, you're only getting $1,000. You're going to have to stay married to me for 10 or 20 years in order for you to get that $1 or $2 million principal that's going to be paying you $50,000 a year annually. You're going to have to stay married to me for 10 or 20 years in order to get that. And if all you're getting is that, everything else stays with me. Now, for those of us that have transparency in our relationships, you don't have to talk about money no more. If your money is making money for you and your money is coming in and you're able to take care of the bills, you don't need to talk to her about the money. You need to talk to her about the entertainment. She needs to be able to talk to you about the vehicle repairs, the household repairs, the stuff that gets broken around the way. If she wants something that is a luxury, then she needs to talk to you about those luxuries. And then you need to be able to talk to her about whether or not you're willing to pay for that. If the shoe is on the other foot and she's a woman of wealth and she's willing to do the same thing and talk to you about the things that you want that you don't necessarily need, and she's going to determine whether or not she's going to buy that, But all the rest of the money don't matter. How much is there? Are you a millionaire or whatever? Does that matter? No. Long as all the bills is paid, you don't got to worry about nothing. So what we've been doing here is we've been sitting over here discussing, because transparency is a problem. Transparency is a requirement, but too much transparency is a problem. The problem is if you give too much information, especially early on in a relationship. You're giving out too much information early on in a relationship. Just like take at the beginning of the show when I was talking to you about the chick that was asking me questions. She wanted to know if I was wealthy enough to pay for. Yeah, I could pay for whatever I want right now, according to our discussion. But am I really going to pay for that? Do I have $500,000 set aside for me to go ahead and spend on a lavish relationship or a lavish wedding? If I did, I'm not telling somebody that I have yet to see in person the answer to that question. So yeah, I'll tell, oh yeah, I've got all kinds of whatever I need to do whatever I want to do. That doesn't mean that you're going to get it. A man can be a billionaire, but that don't mean you are a billionaire by proxy. He's a billionaire. You're broke. You understand? So if a man has a wealthy mindset where he's saying, yeah, I can say and do, and I can make things happen, but at the same time, I kind of want to keep this money revolving so that in my later days, I can retire back on the fundamental observation that the principal is starting to produce a large enough quantity of interest that I don't necessarily have to work. No matter what you're doing, whether you're in real estate, whether you're doing day trading, whether you just go and invest your money into those cash stocks that are going to pay you dividends on a quarterly basis, where money is just continuously coming in and you don't have to work for it. Regardless of how you look at it, at some point in life, you are going to want to reach a point where you no longer have to pay money to do stuff. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to want to reach a point in life where you don't have to do stuff. You're going to want to put enough money down where you don't have to throw your money around and say, oh, hey, I got to go to work. I got to go make these ends. I got to go. You don't want to do that. You want to reach a point where in your scenario, you are able to say, you know what? I'm good. Let's just live now. So understanding this concept, understanding why this is and how this goes about doing it, I keep saying, yeah, when it comes down, when you first meet the girl, she's going to ask you if you got money. Then she's gonna hang out with you and try to talk to you and see how quickly she can get you to start spending that money. And it's not just American women all over the world are going to do it, but they're going to try to see how quickly they can get you to start spending that money. And if you're wasteful, they're okay with that because they're benefiting from the wastefulness. But if a woman is looking for a long-term partner, she doesn't want a man that's wasteful. She needs a man that's financially responsible so that they don't have a large quantity of debt and she's got to pay for it all. So when you're getting a woman that is looking for a wasteful man, they're just trying to spend your resources. They're not really trying to build it up. And you have to be able to identify that. So when they start asking you, do you have a lot of money to spend? They're really fishing to find out, are you broke? Can you afford to throw money around? That's what they're really looking at. And that's not really a good position to be in. That's not really a good startup situation to have in a romantic relationship. Transparency in that situation is bad. When you say, oh yeah, I do well for myself, I mean, you're kind of hinting towards the fact that you're good, but you should be able to say in the first couple of days, it's like, look, I don't talk finances with my partner inside of the first 5 or 10 years of the relationship, regardless of whether or not the relationship becomes a marriage or if the marriage itself is not in existence as of yet. Either way it goes, we're looking at a scenario where I'm not talking about finances with my partner. The only people that you are supposed to be talking finances with, and this is why I said earlier in the show that, if I'm talking to a person and they want me to do X, Y, and Z and we're deliberating, if you're giving me money, we should be talking money. So if I'm in a relationship with a woman that is giving me money, I should be able to convey how successful her investments are. So if she's giving me money and that money is going towards our financial success, whatever she's investing in, I should be able to update her on the financial success of that. But anything she's not putting her money towards, she don't need to know about it. She don't need to know about it. Everybody deserves to know where their money is going. So if they're giving you money every month, they should be able to know where you're putting it. If you're putting it on the bills, so then you're going to take your money instead of putting it on the bills and you're going to invest it somewhere, then they need to know that you are investing with the money that you're not putting on the bills, because the bills aren't being paid in advance. The bills are just being paid off. That transparency is important. But for someone who's not financially contributing, and hold on, don't think that just because she paid your phone bill one time that she needs to know how much money is in your bank account. Just because she might pay a light bill or two doesn't mean that she needs to know how many stocks and bonds and assets. She doesn't need to know what your bottom line is. You understand what I'm telling you? We got females that they put money towards your mortgage. Sometimes they put towards half the money towards your mortgage. They don't need to know how much your mortgage is, how much your mortgage is owed, what the final dollar amount is on the whole house. Because just like people who pay rent, somebody who is giving you money, they're living in your house. Somebody's giving you money, they're dating you. Room and boarding is the house, is the rent. So if they're giving you money, that's like giving you rent money. So that's not the same as somebody that's giving you extra money for you to utilize, and you're telling them where you're putting that money. That's a big difference. So you really got to pay attention to where are you putting your money, and then what you're telling your partner about where you're putting your money. Then when it also comes down to other information, you're supposed to confide into one another and talk about your family tree, talk about your family legacy, tell each other what your likes and dislikes are, your favorites, your things that make you mad, things that make you happy. Yeah, you're supposed to do all that. But when it comes down to who you're talking to, how long you known them, all these details of engagements, and I'm gonna call them engagements because actually they're relationships, but women don't see relationships the way business people see relationships. Interactions with other people, even whether they're casual platonic or business platonic, they're still relationships. And those engagements, she don't need to know what you're talking about. Notice, she might need to know who you are talking to, so that if something happens to you, she knows who you was communicating with, because those will be the prime suspects if something bad happens to you. What you were talking about may not necessarily be any of her business. Reasonable transparency. Likewise, who is that and who is that to you is reasonable questioning. She's talking to dudes, and they need to really be actual family, not, oh, I call him my cousin, he a friend of mine from way back when. I'm not really dealing with no females that got male friends. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not dealing with that. I find out you got male friends, we ain't even gonna call ourselves being friends. You could be a jump off, you could be a one and done, you could be a casual buddy, but nah, I'm not in a long-term relationship with a female with male friends. I'm not doing that. I understand that there's a difference between couple friends, where that partner pair is coming to double date with my partner pair, but for her to have a past that is more important than I am, and then I am not allowed to have that kind of past because of her insecurities, I'm not getting into that kind of relationship. No. And I don't even talk to females as friends anymore. When I was younger, I had female friends, but as I get older, I have this acquaintances. We're either making money together or we don't talk. And it don't matter if you male or female, we're either making money together or we don't talk. So, if you're not helping me make money, if you're not sending me money, if I'm the only person that's making money between us, I can guarantee you I'm not calling you very often. I'm not asking you how your life is. I don't care. You could send me a text message and tell me that you're in the hospital, and I'm more than positive I am not going to ask you, are you okay? Some people are going to say, oh, that's insensitive. Look, let me tell you something. When you are on the bottom end of that text message and you're the one that is on the last breath of your life, the people that is going to come and help you are the people who are going to pull you out of a bad spot when you need them the most. The ones that only show up when it's party time, those aren't the people that's supposed to be there for you. You're going to say, oh, well, since you're saying that, then that means you're not a good friend. No, the people that I got as friends are people that I have built up financially. I started business with them. I've helped them improve themselves in some way, shape, or forms. I put most of them through college. So when I tell you that these people that I've already financially invested in are not calling me if we're not making money together, they already know that I am a valuable person because they know that they will benefit from talking to me. I got to know that I'm a benefit from talking to you, or I'm not calling you. If you're in an actual emergency and you call my phone or shoot me a text message and say that I need your help and I'm in the vicinity, I got you. I bail you out like SWAT. I'm a one-man Rambo for every sense of the expectation. I'm Chuck Norris style. We going in there like Neil Easton, coming out with no survivors and everybody I went in there for, guaranteed. So from that scenario, yeah, you call me, I got you. But for those people that like to call, hey, how you doing, man? I was just wondering, I need a couple $100. Click. I ain't got no time for that. I don't got no time for that. You can't call me, talk to me about money. I've already invested in you. You should be making your own money. I come from a long past of teach them how to fish so that they can fish for themselves. And since I come from a long past of teach them how to fish so that they can fish for themselves, I'm not interested in continuously trying to give you a fish because you haven't learned how to fish yet. I'm going to teach you how to fish and let you do it yourself. And then your level of success is based on your efforts. So if you are not doing it right, if you are not succeeding, then there's nothing else I can do for you. I mean, when I'm not busy and enough money, in my opinion, is coming in, I might spend an hour talking to you on the phone once a month, 12 times a year. Let me tell you the truth, 8 times a year. I might talk to you 1 hour a month, 8 times a year. But beyond that, if you ain't got no bullshit going on, I ain't trying to talk to you. We ain't doing this. Why? Because it is a waste of my time and I'm trying to make money. And I'm not trying to make money so that I can take care of the nation. I'm trying to make money to take care of myself. I'm trying to make money to take care of the people that are closest to me. So since I'm trying to make money to take care of the people closest to me, I'm not trying to be in a situation where I've got liabilities instead of assets. I need more assets than liabilities. And fellas, because we got some right now, soft. I ain't even talking about soft guy era. We got some right now, soft. Y'all got some feminine tendencies right now. Y'all gonna have to man up, bro. I'm gonna be real. I was talking to one of my homeboys the other day. I got to go in on this real quick. I was talking to one of my homeboys the other day, and he got on my damn nerve. He up here talking about some feminine stuff about how he don't like the tone that I'm saying. He wasting his own money by not paying bills on time. He telling me he ain't like that. He didn't want me to make him feel bad because I'm telling him how his irresponsibility to meet the deadline of due dates of financial obligations could cause him to lose his business. That his inability to retain knowledge on his business will make him look stupid in front of his employees, which will cause the people who is paying him to lose respect for him. The fact that he does not know what is going on in his business because he does not have the care to go find out, and he doesn't have the confidence and courage to accept responsibility when he does not know what he's supposed to know. I had to catch myself. I told him, I said, look, bro, you got to do better. He didn't like me telling him that. Well, then what you calling me for? If you got somebody trying to tell you how to make yourself better, you got somebody trying to tell you how to make yourself more financially successful, you're supposed to be listening to that person. He tell me so, oh, well, if you talk to me without telling me that, then I'll talk to you and not rebuttal. Bro, I'm over a decade older than you. You're not supposed to be telling me what you don't want to hear. Mutual respect dictates that you respect your elders, and your elders is trying to mentor you, they're trying to guide you, they're pointing out your mistakes. And it's not like this the first time you made this mistake. You've repetitively made this mistake. That's why you don't want to hear this, because you've been told multiple times that you're messing up. As a mentor, I'm not supposed to give up on you and say, you know what, I've already told you too many times, just let you suffer. As a mentor, I'm supposed to remind you that you are still destroying your own future, that you are still sabotaging your own success. I am supposed to tell you that the steps that I told you before are the steps that you still need to be doing to apply yourself to be successful. You don't want to hear that, because there's no nice way to tell somebody they're fucking up. But I'm gonna be honest with you, like, that's really what has to happen. There's no nice way to tell somebody that they're messing up their life, that they're messing up the situation that they're in, that they're negatively impacting the expectation for success in the agenda that they are in right now. There's no nice way to say that, because that is bad news. Nobody likes bad news. People like good news. I'm gonna give you some money. You won the lottery. You won the raffle. You know, you don't have to pay this bill. This got charged off in your favor. You know, they're skipping a payment this month. You don't have to pay this month. They want to hear good news. You're getting extra money back on that last transaction. They want to hear good news. Nobody wants to hear self-recognition. You're screwing up your own life. And not only are you screwing up your own life, the negative choices that you're making is screwing up the lives of the people around you. People don't want to hear that. Bearers of bad news, they have that phrase called don't kill the messenger. When the person brings you the message that you're ruining your life, that's the person that you attack. You don't like bad news, so the person that brings you bad news, you attack that person. You make that person feel bad for telling you bad news. The person that brings you bad news is not the person that's supposed to feel bad. The reason why this person has to bring you bad news is supposed to be the one that's getting got. So if I got to tell you that it's about to get serious and you're not going to be happy for quite a long time because of it, you're not supposed to be mad at me. You're supposed to be mad at why is that happening? And if it is happening because of a choice that you made, not a choice that I made, I'm just telling you what's going on. You're not supposed to be mad at me. You're supposed to be mad at you. Because every action that you have performed, you messed up on. I didn't mess up on that. I ain't did nothing to you. So when I talk to him about it, I'm like, look, you got to get out of your female side of things. You got to start being a man about things. You got to start, stepping up and taking responsibility. Conflict avoidance. You got to get out of the delta and beta mindset and start becoming more of a sigma and an alpha man. You can't lie to yourself and say that you're an alpha man the way women lie to themselves and say that they're a 10, because you feel like if you talk to me any kind of way and then I don't slap the taste out of your mouth that you're an alpha. That doesn't make you an alpha. As a sigma, I don't really care how you talk to me, because you don't have enough respect for yourself to take my advice and improve yourself. But also, it doesn't make you an alpha just because I didn't slap the taste out of your mouth. What it does is it shows me that you don't have enough respect for me to improve yourself, and then you're going to disrespect me because you're not willing to improve yourself, what ultimately means that I shouldn't waste my time on you, which ultimately means that I could better spend my time somewhere else investing in myself and making myself more successful, because the stress of me trying to play Captain Saving with you is wasting my time that I could be putting towards making myself some more money. These are the things that we talk about. These are the things that we hash out. So all of this boils down to our transparency. And you got to notice when we talked about all of the stuff that we talked about on today's show, we talked about different levels of transparency and different types of relationships, whether they were emotional, intimate relationships, strictly platonic relationships, relationships with friends, relationships with business partners, turning your relationship into a business arrangement, all of this stuff, different levels of transparency. People are supposed to primarily be on a need-to-know basis. Unless they are impacted by the financial decision, they don't need to know. If they are impacted by the lack of financial decision, they're supposed to know. But if they're not going to be impacted at all, it don't matter if you can catch it. It doesn't matter if you can catch it. Just because you can catch the mistake that you're about to make doesn't mean that you shouldn't tell me about it. Because let's be real, if a problem happens and you got to put extra money down, and then down the line we end up in an argument about money, first thing you're going to do is you're going to throw up the fact that you had to put extra money down on a mistake that you made, making it seem like you're doing me a favor. That's a lie. You're not doing me a favor, because had you not made that mistake, you wouldn't have had to spend that money. I didn't spend that money. I didn't make that mistake. You're not covering for me financially. You're covering for you financially. So when you make a mistake financially that you got to cover financially, you are supposed to come and talk to me about that financial mistake so that I understand what's going on. Then when we start talking about the situation, we end up in an argument about money. You're going to, before you can even throw that up, we got to go ahead and say, look, hey, that situation that you messed up, we ain't even talking about that. We're talking about money, making money for us. And when you're in a relationship, a committed relationship with a partner, a long-term partner, you're in the kind of relationship where you guys are going to build financial success together. It doesn't matter if you have a parent-child relationship, platonic relationship where you're taking care of your parents, you're investing their money if you're the power of attorney. It doesn't matter if you are siblings, a platonic relationship where you guys are pooling y'all's money together so that y'all can build yourselves up. It doesn't matter if you're friendship, platonic relationship where you're putting your money together and you're building yourselves up. Because you think about 40 Mexicans can move to America, live in the same house. 40 Americans walk away with 39 Ford F-150s in one house. Now, 5 Americans can't come together and stop riding the bus. Y'all need to start thinking about, why are we not able to relay information with one another so that we can save and build? We're sitting over here complaining about how people who are willing to make 1/3 of the American standard to live can live with 40 other people where they're only paying 1/40th of the cost of the standard of living. And they will do that until they have made more money than the average American who's making more than the basic standard of living. But they overspend in comparison to their income. And they do not partner with anybody else financially. And you do not financially contract yourselves to build together. Like I said before, the only account that your partner is supposed to know about is a joint bank account that they have access to. And the only money that they have access to is the money that you put into that joint bank account. And any other assets and resources are excluded from the division of assets if that friendship or relationship or whatever dissolves itself. Because otherwise, you will sell yourself out. And that is not what you are trying to do. It's just like having a hostile takeover in a business. When you have a hostile takeover of your resources and they're taking more than their fair share of what they did not contribute into because they're entitled to it, because they attached themselves to your assets, not because they actually contributed to the success of your assets. They attached themselves to your assets. And that makes no sense. So before you move a girl into your house, if she is not going to be in there for the long haul, the contractual obligation that she's got to sign before she moves in, just like a lease agreement, is that she will forfeit all accessibility to possession of premises upon the vacate of the premises out of spite or anger or termination of social engagements with one another. So you pack your bags and go stay with your mama, sweetheart. You moved out according to this contract. And when you moved out, you gave up on your authorized possession of this particular property. And when you moved out, my man, ain't nothing else for us to do. You surrender the property. You surrender the property. And when you surrender the property, that's a wrap. You can even set a time limit of absence and say when X, Y, and Z goes on, after 72 hours, you have officially forfeited your rights to the premises, which allows me to change the locks. I ain't even got to come back. You spend a week by your mama house, come back, there's a whole new house. You got to get these contracts lined up, y'all. You got to get these contracts lined up from the dating game, because dating relationships are actually more devastating than marriage relationships right now, because the women will tear the house up and burn the house down and burn up the car and take all your money and run off with all your valuables before they disappear in the middle of the night while you at work. The marriage, they got a lawyer that's going to count all of the money and make sure that they take you to court and stick their finger in every dollar sign that you got. But the dating, just because they live in a house, you can't get rid of them, and they can take whatever they want because it's considered community property, run off with all of it, and leave you with nothing. clean your whole house out. You come back from work, all your grandmama ancestries all missing. Community property. So you got to be careful from the dating, from before you move somebody into your house. It don't matter if you're a man or a woman, before you move somebody into your house. And even when you're not dating, you got a homeboy on hard times, before he crash at your place for an extended period of time, contract. Because you don't want to have unnecessary tenants in your house. Your friends stay after a certain period of time, you got to have a contract where, bro, you're gonna have to, even if you rent free, you got a contract that says that your behavior matters, that you will be evicted if you don't behave correctly, that the quality of the property has to be maintained. If you're destroying my stuff, you're going to be evicted. You got to have these contracts that says that under these conditions that your accessibility to access to these premises will be revoked. You got to have that. And anytime that you are loaning money out to a friend, even a friend, you got to have a contract that says, hey, I'm giving you this money. If I'm getting interest back on the money for the duration of time that you're holding the money, that I can execute the collection of collateral after X number of whatever time. And if you haven't done whatever you were supposed to do, this is mine. You got to do that, because if not, you should have gave that away. So even with family and friends, if you're not setting a standard, and everything in the United States is capitalism, if you do not set a standard where you're transparently communicating their lack of accessibility to your finances and resources and their financial obligations to the accessibility of your resources, and get it in writing, you'll be setting yourself up. Friend on hard time, move into your house, stay there for more than 2 weeks, they live there. Not you got to spend hundreds of dollars in civil court evicting them off of the property. You got to tighten up, y'all. Let somebody use their car, they own that bit. They ain't got to bring it back. You call the police talking about some stolen car. What the police gonna tell you? You got to give them a written letter. You don't even know where they at. They left. You got to give them a written letter letting them know that you want your car back. Then you got to wait 30 days. If they don't bring the car back, then you've got to file civil action. You got to serve them. You don't even know where they at. So there go two problems. Your car's gone. Then the other issue is that you have to serve them where they are. So if they never receive service, you can't move forward with the civil action. It gets archived and then dismissed because you can't find the defendant, and the defendant's got your property, and you can't get your property back. So if you hand your friend the keys to your car, you are giving away your car. You have to do what, remember, we had seen before, somebody has said that if somebody who doesn't own the car takes possession of the car, that they are renting the car. And if you generate a renter's contract agreement, that you can sue them for the possession of the car, that they will return the car quickly. That truth is, while that's a thing, if you draft those documents and those documents are in there with the title of the car, where anyone in possession of the car is renting the car for X number of dollars a day, which you could overstate that shit. They're renting the car for X number of dollars, and then you charge them more than what the tow fee and the renter's fee, what you get your car back. But those contracts that say that if you are in possession of my car and you don't return the car after a certain period of time, that the car is considered stolen, and then criminal actions will be taking place. That is actually in a rental contract. So if you take the car from a rental company and you don't pay the bill, they can report the car stolen, and then the police can come and arrest you and return the car back to the rental car company at your expense. So if you go get one of them budget or those enterprise rental contracts and you print that shit out, and then you put it in that car, where that document is notarized back in 4-5 years ago, and it's in the car with the title, with the bill of sale, or with the bill of sale, not necessarily the title, but like the registration of the vehicle, it's in there. When they grab that registration vehicle, they grab that contract. They were fully aware that that car, while in their possession, must be paid for. And any damages done to the car while in their possession must be reimbursed. And if you have that particular type of document and your friend owe you your car back, and after a certain period of time, they're going to owe you your car back with revenue. And within a certain period of time, if they haven't returned your car, that the car is considered stolen. And if you have that document conscribed and you let them know, hey, I ain't trying to be a dick, but you need to read this before you take my car. You understand, then you're good. They take the car, you all right. They don't come back within a reasonable period of time, they've got problems. Because according to this contract, if you don't return the car by X time, the car is considered stolen. Now, you can execute that in a court of law. You can execute that with law enforcement. Law enforcement, like, oh, well, what if they're running late? According to the documents, the car is considered stolen. They were supposed to have the car back 3 hours ago. The car is considered stolen. They're not responding to communication. The car is considered stolen according to the contract. The authorization of possession of premise expired, and they have a legal document that they understood that the expiration was going to be on this day at this time, and they are still in possession of the vehicle. That makes it stolen. Now, you're going to have a lot of people who less honorable than most who are going to look at these types of stipulations and say, I ain't even going to fuck with that. That's all right. I'll walk. Good. Because that keeps you safe. Don't give a fuck about them. You safe. If you're not willing to put them in the car and drop them somewhere and drop them off, they want to take your whip, and then they see that contract and they say, never mind, I'm okay with it. Good. Because mutual respect and mutual trust, it don't go nowhere. It don't go nowhere anymore. You know, you're going to see more and more civil action happening these days than what they happened back in the day, because people are starting to become more knowledgeable. So you got to understand that the grounds that you have to protect yourself is if you get that paperwork together before you start lending out your car to your girlfriend, lending out your car to your best friend, lending your house to your homeboy or your brother, or extending a key to the house to your girlfriend or stuff like that. Long before the marriage is not the first place that a contract of utilization of assets and resources should be used. It's not the first place. It's just the only place that we recognize we should be using it. But if you notice, wealthy people don't let you borrow shit. They don't give it to you where it's yours. Their employees will monitor you while you're utilizing it, so that when you are done, the employees will take it from you. Now, with that being said, I'm just going to tell you guys, I'm going to wrap it up. We're going to go ahead and sign out of TikTok. TikTok been acting funny lately, so we ain't really worried about them right now. And the rest of you guys, I'm going to tell y'all I appreciate y'all coming to the show. We are going to be setting up a lot more stuff coming soon, and the stuff that we're going to be setting up to be more in line with we're going to be more in line with some of our guest stars who we're trying to get up onto the show. I've got about 20 different emails I have to read. Not all of them are individual clients. I'm going to be real with you, but out of those 20, I know that there's like at least 10 or 15 of them that are looking to get up onto the podcast. I got to schedule them. Some people send emails like text messages too, so I got to go through the emails and look and see who's going to be guest stars on the show. The show's going to be all about that person and whatever product that they have, that they are service or whatever that they're supposed to be utilizing. So we're going to be bringing people up onto the show, doing some collaborations coming soon. So I want to make sure that you guys know that you guys got to stay prepared, because as the lineup starts to get expanded for November, you're going to start seeing more people scheduled on the show. And beyond that, the only thing I can tell you is that we're supposed to be live 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific. I know that sometimes we kind of kick things off 30 minutes after the hour, but we are still here every day of the week, 7 days of the week, for approximately an hour, as long as 2.5 to 3 hours every night, no less than an hour on most nights. and as much as almost 4 hours. So you're going to get to see us for quite a bit, but we're here every night of the week. So if you missed what we had going on today, I strongly recommend that you check out our show tomorrow and every other day of the week. Make sure you hit that subscription button on the YouTube platform. If you're not on YouTube, if you're watching us on Twitch, hit that follow button. If you're watching us on Twitter, hit that follow button. If you're watching us on TikTok, hit that follow button, and that helps us out on each one of those platforms to make sure that we can be better seen, because the more people that's looking at us, the more people get shown to us, and that helps us relay information on a regular basis. We got our business and finance and money shows coming up on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, and we've got some more relationship style conversations and topics and social interaction topics that we're going to be talking about Thursday through Sunday. Sunday is typically our members only show where we're supposed to be talking about the Q&As from the fans. We did it on Saturday last week, incidentally, but that's okay, because Sunday I think we started talking about Joe Collins or whoever, the skateboarder guy who's a pretty good skater so far in these days. Even though his brand is limited, he out there. So we were talking about him on Sunday. He didn't come on the show though, but some of his fans wanted to promo him, so we were talking about him for a little bit. But we got some good stuff coming up for November, so I want you guys to make sure that you check that out and see what we got going. We've also got memorabilia going across the screen. Anybody who's interested in picking up this and that merchandise, you can click the links and go to some of the stores and see what we got to offer. Likewise, if you guys have a topic you want us to go over, you go ahead and let us know about that. We could potentially bring you guys in on the topic. We do some collaborations, but we also got that membership, and the membership is going to have detailed information about some of the topics that we've been talking about. So in the event that you want more information, more behind the scenes discussion on some of the topics, send me a message. And also, join the membership, and you'll also have accessibility, because when I'm doing these documents for all the stuff that we're talking about business related, you'll be able to see templates of how I managed to successfully get these things done, so that you'll be able to say, okay, I see how to do it. And that gives you the ability to go ahead and try to replicate some of that stuff. You have to also pay attention that when we start doing things in business, you have to remember that local state laws apply when you're doing things in business. So you can't just unilaterally utilize a standardized document across all 50 states. You will have to modify some clauses and text in the documents respective to the state that the document is being utilized in. It's always recommended that when you're doing business that you want to talk to a lawyer in the field of the business that you are doing. And when you start dealing with the taxes related to those businesses, you want to talk to a CPA like Joe, who was on the show a couple weeks ago on Monday, talking about ways that he could aid you guys with improving your accessibility to better tax filing practices. He had seminars that I was showing you guys that you guys could sign up for, and he could show you ways where you could do your own taxes instead of just paying somebody else to do it. So instead of giving H&R Block 10% of the money that you got back, where they're making like $1,000 off of you just because they help you get some money, you could be doing your own taxes, and then you could get that extra money and not have to break off that $1,000 and get whatever filing fee that you had to pay to file those taxes written off on your taxes at the same time, which puts more money in your pocket. Those of us that are not making $100,000 a year, we want to be able to do it on our own until we can make enough money to pay people to do it for us. The people that we pay to do for us, we got to know that they're doing it right, which means we still got to know how to do it. Because if they're not doing it right, then then we're not getting the results that we're expecting to see. Because had we done it, we would have gotten more. And that means that they've got to do it to the standard that we do it, or better. And that's how you gauge the results of success. You could struggle by yourself, but you're excelling with someone else. If you plateau or start declining because you're with someone else, then you're in a position where you are not improving. And that actually even works in romantic relationships, because women get with men to level up because they feel like if a man is doing for her what she could do for herself, that's not an improvement. They fail to understand that even if you date a man that's financially only capable of providing you with the basic needs that you were once providing for yourself, the fact that you're not providing that for yourself is a level up, because now instead of you paying for yourself, you could pay for something else because he's paying for you. So you don't have to pay for you. So your money stays in your pocket while his money covers your expenses. That's an upgrade. Don't think about that. You want a rich man or a wealthier man than you so that he can take you all over the world. But if he's paying for your basic light, gas, water, rent, phone bill, transportation, gas in the car insurance, buying you food, he's doing everything that you needed to do for yourself. All that money that you would have been spending, that $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month that you would have been spending on yourself, he's spending that on you for your basic needs. That is an upgrade, because that $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month is no longer coming out of your pocket. That $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month is now going on your hair and your nails and this, that, and the other stuff, when you really should be taking that $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 and investing it somewhere so that you got extra money when this relationship is over. Since 70 to 90% of women are bailing out of relationships, and statistically speaking, those 70 to 90% of the women are bailing out of those relationships between 6 months and 3 years. 2 years and 9 months. So since they're not even staying in the relationship for more than 3 years, if you're going to get in this relationship with this person and they're paying your bills while you're in this relationship with this person, you should, instead of fixing your hair and nails and all that stuff, you should be taking this money and putting it into 3-year stocks and bonds and CDs, so that when this relationship ends, that you can cash out on that and utilize that to upgrade your standard of living after you break up with this dude, because clearly you're not going to stay with him for the rest of your life. Because if you was, you would get a dude with potential and work with him so that he could become a millionaire, so that you could be a millionaire's wife. And if you are a woman with potential and all you want is a man that's not going to take you for your money, then what you want to do is you want to be a millionaire, and you want to get a man that's fiscally responsible so that he's at least making sure that the money don't depreciate, even if he's not able to financially contribute to the money appreciating. Either way it goes, no one's supposed to be, you're supposed to have a zero carbon print in your relationship if you're not financially contributing to your relationship. Just saying. Zero financial print in your relationship. So that's all I got for you guys for today. I really appreciate you guys on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Omni. I'm gonna do it today. I'm gonna do it right now today. I got Omni81, Red Voice already in there. I'm gonna make sure that you guys are in there. And Bricko Mode, he jumped up there, so I'm gonna make sure that Bricko Mode's on there as well. I'm gonna put you guys into the comment section, list you guys up so that when I'm giving you guys a shout out, that your names are scrolling across the bottom of the screen. I just want to make sure that I tell you guys I appreciate y'all for coming to the show. Thank you for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'm going to see y'all tomorrow night, about 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific. If we start a little bit late, like a half hour after that, don't worry about it. Get yourself some coffee, grab yourself some soda, smoke a blunt, drink some gin, go to the bathroom. And by the time you finish doing all that, grab yourself a bite to eat. I would have aired the show. And we're going to be here every day of the week. So I'll see y'all tomorrow night. Thank you.